Yeah, another thing, in a lot of the cases, though, many people don't even raise their temperature, you know. So it really doesn't really go up that high. Only in a few cases, maybe if it goes for a prolonged period of time. But as the person sweats, you know, they let out all that heat, and so it's not very contraindicated. Um, some things, though, that you might not want to use a hot foot bath for is if the person is a diabetic, you know, or if they have hardening of the arteries, you know, poor circulation and so forth. You wouldn't want to use that on their feet.
Also open wound because then you would burn them. Yes. Yes. Insomnia, migraines, if you have pelvic pain, legs or foot pain. Yes. Or menstrual cramps for ladies.
Also, if you're coming down with a cold or the flu, this is a very good therapy to do. Okay, because then your body's beginning to chill. Okay, and so if you do this, it's going to warm up the entire body and increase the circulation, increase the white blood cells, and so forth.
Any more questions? Is it safe for small children?
Yeah. Yeah, you could do it as long as they have good feelings in their feet. Yeah. And then you might not have it that long, you know, 15, 20 minutes. You might do it for about 10 minutes or so. But this is a very good, there's a modified way too of doing this, where you could sit on the bathtub, put the person's feet in the water, wrap them, you know, or even in the kitchen sink for little children, you know, you just put them to sit on the countertop. Yeah. Okay.
And I would say to be very careful with children because you have not yet you may not know their level, what they can take. And as you administer it, you know, you want to be very watchful, very careful. You don't know their energy levels and things like that to make sure that it doesn't drop and then, you know, you won't know what else to do. So just be very careful or, you know, as we learn this, maybe we find someone a medical missionary who can really help you to administer it.
Okay, I think she's very hot in here, so we need to take her. You're fine. Okay, so we finished. Okay, so she's been in here for, what, maybe 20 minutes now, and so we're going to finish the therapy.
Yes. Now we're going to unwrap her. What do we always finish with after a heat treatment? Why? For healing and what else? To close the pores. Great. So that's what we're going to do after this. Remember we had cold ice in here? We're just going to pour it. Shh. You know it's cold. And then we're going to lift the feet up, the water, pour the cold, and then you dry that off. Now, what's important after this treatment? Rest. Can someone tell me why? Healing start. Okay, great.
Okay, so we're going to get her out of those wet clothes, put on some dry clothes, have her rest, and then afterwards she could take a warm shower. Okay.
Yes. Drinking the liquid will also help to. She asked a question during the procedure, are you allowed to drink any liquid? Water would be very beneficial. That's a way of, not cold water, but room temperature. That will also help to keep the body cool and stable at, internally. As well, that we use for her forehead. Yeah.
Another therapy that's very useful, especially in the winter time, is what we call a heating compress. And when we say heating compress, we're not even using heat. Okay, we're not using heat. A heating compress is where you apply a cold application using a cloth, okay, a cotton material around any part of the, whether it's in the abdomen, the chest, the knees, elbows, around the neck. That would help to bring in a lot of, increase the circulation in that area and bring healing to that area, all right? And so one we're going to demonstrate is what we call a heating throat compress. How many have used a heating throat compress before? Yeah, uh-huh. All right, who would like us to demonstrate that on you? Anybody want to try? Okay, come on. Now, a heating throat compress that we're going to use today, that can be, for example, if she has laryngitis, a sore throat, a cough. That can be easily used. And it's something that you could wear during the day, at night, you know, and you could cover it up. Especially in the winter time, you could use a turtleneck and cover that up. And that in itself would help with the cough and the sore throat that a person has. All right? Now, the first initial, when we're using hydrotherapy, hot and cold, when you use hot, what happens to the body when you apply a hot dilation, right, of the blood vessels? What happens when you use cold? It constricts, all right? So as we mentioned before, you have hot and cold, and what happens is you're manually moving the blood, right? In this case, as we're using the cold, what will happen first? We will constrict the blood vessels, all right? And then, after about 5 minutes, what do you think would be happening? The body now is going to try to warm that material up. Okay? And what will happen? The blood vessels in that area will start opening up, and the cold clot would start warming. All right? And in that way, it would bring healing to that area. Okay, so, yeah, I'm getting. Okay, so you need a cotton material, something very thin. You're going to dip it in cold ice water, wring it out, and then you're going to wrap it around the neck. And it could go around the neck about 1.5 times. Okay, so this is cold. Okay, after we you could get a pin, safety pin. Hold this for me. And you could pin it in place. We're going to use a paper tape, and we're going to tape it here. Okay. Then, to keep the moisture in, you're going to use a piece of plastic, and you're going to cover that. Okay, you want to completely cover it, because if you don't completely cover it, what would happen? It would dry out, what we call a weakening effect, all right? Okay, and we're going to put another piece of tape here to hold that down. Okay, lift up your head. Okay, so you see how that looks, all right? And now you're going to get a woolen piece of material, flannel, or like we said, a turtleneck, and then you're going to cover that. In the winter, it's good. She has a nice turtleneck there. It keeps it warm. Okay. On your paper, there is a picture of it that I handed out. Again, you want to completely cover everything with the flannel or the wool. Okay. And you keep that on for about 8 hours. So you could sleep with that or wear it throughout the day. And then when you finish now, you would remove everything and briskly rub that area with a cold cloth, washcloth, and then dry it out. And you'll be surprised, it would help with that sore throat, that laryngitis, that cough that a person might have.
And if you're administering this for someone else, while you're doing it, always make sure to ask them, is it okay? Is it tight? Is it too tight? Just to make sure that they're comfortable.
Okay? All right. Oh, let me see.
All right, we're doing wonderful on time. Praise the Lord. That clock is very helpful. We got 13 minutes and 48 seconds left. Okay, the kalima. All right. Okay, so they're going to demonstrate for you or tell you something about the kalima setup. Where do you want it? Okay, we need another chair. Thank you. How do you want it? Pretend. How do you want it?
Do this quickly. We talk about cleansing, right? And besides just drinking things, we have what we call a kalima that would clean the bowels. How many have used an enema before? Okay, so there are different ways of doing this. One with an enema. For those of you who don't know what an enema looks like, an enema bottle, this is an enema bottle. You could also dual for a hot water bottle also. Okay, and you could also use this when you're doing that castor oil pack. If you don't have a heating pad, you could use this as your heat. Okay, you have a long tube that attaches to this. Okay, and when you use it, you fill this with water. It holds about 2 quarts. You put the water in here, you attach the tube. It has a clamp. I'm trying to hurry.
It's important that you get to see the whole thing, right?
Okay, this is the tube. All right. Now it also has a tip, and this goes into the bowels. Okay. It has 2 stoppers. One while using as a hot water bottle, and the other as using an enema. Okay, it also has something to hang it up. So you could hang it up on the doorknob or on the towel rack, something that's close to the commode. You hang this up, and you have the tip. This goes into your rectum. You get a lubricating fluid like we have here. We have this one. Okay, you lubricate it, and you have this with your warm water. Some people put other things in here, but we're going to use warm water. And so you put a towel on the floor next to the commode. You get down on your knees, and you're going to put this in. Now, it does have a clamp. It does have a clamp here, and that you could shut it and open it, okay? And it attaches to the tubing, all right? And so you're going to clamp it up. And then when you get in the position now, you're going to unclamp it and gradually let water up into the rectum, okay? Now you're going to hold as much as you can. And when you can't hold enough anymore, you're going to get up and let it out on the commode, in the commode, all right? And so you're going to do this until this is completely done. What we suggest is that you do this 3 times, 3 of this, okay? 1 is not enough, because sometimes when you finish this one, you find that there's a lot more things up there needing to come down. All right? So this is very helpful if you're on a cleansing program. Yeah, while you're doing it, 3 of this. You just fill it 3 times. Yeah.
And just a disclaimer, I saw some faces. You don't have to put the entire thing. So, just, the tip. Yes.
Okay. So everybody understand, if you've never done an enema before, you need to. Yeah, some people put other things. For example, it also has a douche tubing, and people use this for douche. They put garlic and apple cider vinegar and different things in here. Okay, some people put wheatgrass or whatever in their enemas. Yeah, right. What was the question? What other things can you put in here in the enema bag? Yeah, it depends. Yeah, and some people use it also for coffee enemas, for cancer. Yeah. So it depends on what you're doing the enema for. You could, what you put in here. Okay?
If you're doing a simple cleansing, we recommend the water.
Yeah, just simple water. It depends on what you're doing. It depends. For coffee enemas, you lay on your, right side. You know, um, but just doing an enema, just trying to get water into the bowels. Yeah. Okay.
Does it matter what type of water?
Okay, you want to get pure water, purified water, use distilled water. You don't want to have water with chlorine in there or fluorides or all those things in there because then you'll be getting it into your system.
If that's the only water you have, I would suggest to boil it. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, now that's an enema, and everybody could do that at home. This is what we call a colema or a high enema. Okay, it goes further up into the bowels. Okay, you could do that at home too, but this is more costly than if you would do an enema. Okay, but this would work as well. This area, this is what we call a colema board. All right. Let's say this is the commode. We don't have a commode here. This would fit right in on top of your commode. Okay, you lift the seat up and you put it right on top on the commode. Then you have a chair or a stool, and this part fits on the chair or the stool. Okay? Now there is you have a cushion that would go over it because sitting this takes about an hour, and so laying on this hard board is pretty hard. So you have a cushion that you put on here. On this cushion you could put a covering like a garbage bag or something so that you don't get anything on it, and so this is covered. And do we have a man for a demonstration? Eric, okay.
And also, you want to keep it really comfortable. The person doesn't have to be, in pain. So you can
Right.
put pillowcase.
Yeah, you have a pillow
Yeah.
right there so that it could lay on. And you would want to. Okay, go ahead. You got to take your shoes off. Upper.
Okay.
Oh, so
You can use that.
yeah,
Yeah.
just for your head. I want this to
Yeah, to cover. Okay. Okay, great. Now, most we, especially when it comes to this treatment, we preferred male with male and female with female. Okay, but this is my husband, so I'll be demonstrating that. So, so when you're working with someone, this is a vulnerable moment, so you want to cover them as much as you can. So I will cover him with the sheet. There's another step. I'm gonna leave this slightly opened, and afterward, then I'll cover it up.
Okay, now this is the tubing. This is the tubing for the colema. All right. And this is the tip. A big comparison, right?
And again,
It's just,
it's just this where my finger is.
yeah, there's holes on it,
Okay.
and it's only just the part,
Yeah.
you know, that goes in, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what happens is that you have a bucket, a 5-gallon bucket that's raised above the commode. You could put a box on top the back of the commode, what you call that? The tank, right? And then you put a bucket on top there. And this is gravity fed. This hangs over the bucket. This goes into the bucket. It's gravity fed. Okay, we're just pretending this is the bucket. Okay, that's what that is. Okay, and then you use this here, the syringe, and you pull it in, and what happens is going to help the water to come straight through. And then after you finish, then you will clamp this down. All right? Now this goes, there is a hole right here, and this goes right into the hole here. Okay? And then after that, there's a little attachment. Right. And then on the other end, this goes, the tip goes right on the other end. Here, right? So it attaches on the other end. All right? And so when he sits down, you just take this and push it in. And it could go no further. See, this is, when this goes in here, it can't go any further. Okay, this goes in, and this is not going to go any further. All right? And so the person comes right down close to the tip, and then the tip goes into the rectum, no further than past those little holes in here. Okay? And then you release it now, and then the water starts entering into the bowels. Okay? Slowly. And what's good about this is that you don't have to keep on getting up like an enema. All right? As the water goes in, the feces comes out and goes right down into the commode. Right, because we call that a high enema. Okay, this is a high